The Compound Effect is a book by Darren that talks about success and what it takes to make it. The principles in it will help you jumpstart your success, your income, and even benefit your relationships. In this video, we will go over the key points of the book, explaining what the compound effect is, how it applies to our life, to the stock market, and what we should all pay attention to in order to have it work for us instead of against us. But before we do, make sure to subscribe for more similar content if you haven't done that yet, like the video if you end up enjoying it, and also share it with a friend if you find it useful. Takeaway number 1. The compound effect. The compound effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small smart changes. Small steps taken consistently over a long time make for a radical difference. Success is not doing 5,000 things very well. Success is doing half a dozen things really well 5,000 times. So you gotta figure out what the half dozen things are and how to do them really well. One small positive change ends up having a small positive effect on all the other things in your life, and this starts a ripple effect where all the positive changes in other things again cause positive changes on everything else. So all you need to do to make a huge change in your life is to make a big amount of small changes consistently over a long time. The earlier you start, the more radical the compound effect will be for you, so start now. Imagine if somebody offered you either $1 million right now or a penny that doubles every day for 30 days. Which one would you take? Well, if you went for the upfront deal, you would have made a big mistake. Take a look at what would happen to the penny over that period. That is the power of the compound effect. Extra effort also pays off exponentially with the compound effect, so make sure to add that effort to everything you do. Exceed the expectations. Likewise, negative actions also compound against you. Don't let them make you stuck in no man's land where you don't grow at all, just stagnate or even go backwards. We often have enough information to improve our lives. Knowledge is not power, it's the potential of power. We have to use it and keep using it in order to gain momentum. Only action can achieve the compound effect, so start implementing your knowledge until those actions have great results. 5 to 7 years is how long it takes to achieve mastery, but it takes constant action. There's a saying that bad times create strong people create good times create weak people, and weak people again create bad times. So nothing fails like success. If you stop doing what you did to get where you are, you might not get to keep it. Real and lasting success requires work and sacrifice. Takeaway number 2. The compound effect in the stock market. Another obvious field where compounding applies is the stock market. It's very important to be aware of it so you can better understand the real future value of your money and thus better understand the real cost of your purchases. Assume average interest at 8% and consider the real worth of items to make sure they are actually worth buying. This will make you financially abundant as awareness will lead to making better choices. For example, let's say you quit smoking both to save health and money. For this example, we will generally assume you pay $6 for every pack of cigars and smoke one pack every 2 days. This in turn means you'll save about $90 every month just for not smoking. Times 12, that's $1,080 every year, and over 30 years that's $32,400. Doesn't sound like much? Well, we didn't account for compounding that will occur had we invested the money instead of letting it sit idle. If you start investing with $1,080 and add another $1,080 every year, over 30 years compounded annually at the end of each year, that would leave you with $133,213.53. Yup, that's the compound effect. And remember the penny example from before, it gets significantly stronger the longer it's in motion. If you have that, the compound effect will work against you instead of for you. It's pretty much like fire. It can be a very useful tool, but also very dangerous if you have no idea what you're dealing with or if it's used against you. So make sure to delay gratification in order to avoid and pay off any debt and have the compound effect work for you instead. Now that we know the benefits of the compound effect, the following takeaways are what we need to pay attention to in order to make it work for us, not against us. Takeaway number 3. Taking responsibility. Everything in your life exists because you made a choice at some point. Making no choice is also a choice, to be a passive receiver with unintended consequences. If you let a bunch of small actions that you're not even aware of consume your time, those actions will compound against you. Taking just 5 minutes every day to think about things that you're grateful for will make you focus on finding positive things in your life every day. This in turn will make you find them even where you previously have not. And there is a saying that what you appreciate appreciates. Look, we're all self-made, but only those who are successful take credit for it, while unsuccessful people tend to blame others instead. Blaming others for your own failures is pretty much psychology 101. Personal responsibility is not something most people are familiar with. The main difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. Remember this every time you want to slack off or have to do something tedious. You're 100% responsible for all your choices and all the ways that you respond to what happens to you. You're responsible for everything you did and didn't do, and your response is for everything ever done to you. I'm sorry to break it to you, but the traffic is not the reason you're late. It's not the government's fault that you're not rich. You're the main reason that your ex left you, and being unlucky is just another excuse. Fooling yourself by blaming others for your own action and inaction will keep you where you are or even worse. You have the unlimited power to control your destiny, so use it. Here is the complete formula for getting lucky. Preparation or personal growth, plus attitude or belief and mindset, plus opportunity, the good thing coming your way, plus action, doing something about it, is luck. Tracking your progress is very important no matter what you're doing. This will make a lot of small things you might have not been even aware of come to surface. You can't improve something you don't measure. Becoming conscious of your actions will let you shape them. Tracking is the way to get back on track. All winners are trackers. Takeaway number 4. What is your why? Your choices are only meaningful if you align them with your purpose, your desires and dreams. So what is your why? Why do you want to make a positive change? This is the fuel for your actions. If your why is not powerful enough, it will be very hard for you to stay disciplined. But a strong enough why anyhow can be found. Material stuff is not always the best why. You need to find fulfillment also. Make sure to take your core values into consideration so they don't end up colliding with your goals. This happens more often than you think. Define your core values and make sure everything aligns with them to avoid any consequences. People are often best motivated by either love or hate. Having to fight challenges your skills, and having an enemy makes you want to be better just to beat them. If, for example, proving somebody in particular wrong by succeeding is your strongest motivating force, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Just use it to your benefit. Anger, jealousy, and bitterness can also be effectively used as motivators. Takeaway number 5. What are your goals? If you're not making the progress that you know you can be making, that's because you're not setting up your goals and not acting toward them. Set goals by writing them down and make yourself accountable for them. When you set a goal, make sure it's worth pursuing though. Figure out what you want to do and where you want to be in the long term and build your goals and business plans around that fact. It's much harder to build your life around your goals and business than it is the other way around. Until your mind focuses on something, it practically doesn't exist to you. If for some reason you are looking to buy, for example, a 12th generation Toyota Corolla, all of a sudden you start to notice that there are many of them driving around. But you didn't see them before, or at least you had no idea there were so many. No, the Corollas didn't magically multiply overnight. You just focused on the fact that they were there, and that made you notice the fact way better. Are your goals and achievements going to be invisible simply because you never focused on them and gave them enough attention to make them appear everywhere? If you don't write your goal and just say, yeah, I know what they are, well, you knew about the Corollas also, but you had no idea there were so many. So make sure to make the steps towards your goals appear everywhere also. If your goals are hard to keep up with, make sure others also keep you accountable, or even get a success buddy to trade accountability and feedback with, and maybe even have some friendly competition. Takeaway number 6. The potential danger of news. Reviewing the news too much, especially news irrelevant to your goals and business, doesn't bring any value and it can be very harmful and damaging. Many people consume news just out of habit, but over 90% of those news are actually useless and irrelevant to them but cause anxiety anyway. The big problem with the mainstream media is the fact that bad news tends to get a lot of eyeballs and clicks, so it makes sense for them to bombard you with shocking, scandalous or bad news because they know that you are more likely to be interested. During the same period, lots of amazing things also happened, but people are not so interested in them in general, so the negative ones have the priority. Controlling the kind of information we take in is also very important for exercising our brain. The time you spend reading useless news that bombard you mostly with negative facts could have been used to read a good educational book instead. Feed your mind with useful information. You can look at your mind like an empty glass of water. What you put in is what it will contain. Just like your mind will be obsessed with what you feed it with. If you feed it with negative news, it will be focused on them. But if you feed it with ways to improve, it will be obsessed with getting better every day. Takeaway number 7. Habits. Write a list of habits that you have right now and a list of habits that you want to adopt. Destroy the bad ones and bring in new good ones. Habits are learned and thus they can also be unlearned. Again, you might need to take small steps to get rid of those habits, but you'll get there eventually. Identify the triggers for your bad habits. What causes you to do those actions? Is there something that triggers them, and are there consequences of your environment? After you increase your awareness, remove the habits and anything that has anything to do with them from your life. Also consider replacing them with good habits to fill the gaps. Run a vice check to make sure that a bad habit is not becoming the boss of you. Try picking one vice and living without it for a full month to see if you can actually live without it. If it's seriously difficult, consider eliminating it completely. Takeaway number 8. Big Mo. You can't see or feel him, but you'll know he's there when he appears. He's pretty much the consequence of Newton's first law of motion. Objects in rest tend to stay at rest, while objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Once you build up the momentum, it's much easier to keep going. Adapting change can be hard at the beginning, so take small steps, but once you get it rolling, inertia will be on your side instead of working against you. Big momentum can also work for you or against you, so make sure to use it to your advantage. Don't let it turn you into a couch potato instead. The way you get momentum on your side is by making new choices, putting them to work, repeating them for a long time, building routines and staying consistent. After this, Big Mo kicks in, and he'll have your back and catapult you forward. The new routines you build will make you more efficient and productive, and make you do everything automatically without even thinking about it. A great routine is exceptionally powerful, and that's what separates very successful people from unsuccessful ones. Consistency is the single most important thing to keeping Big Mo by your side. Consider the massive cost of inconsistency every time you want to slack off. Don't break your own momentum. Those who remain consistent will eventually start getting the results their actions lead towards, and you'll have to keep it up to keep Big Mo with you. Takeaway number 9. Who's influencing you? The people you associate with, your reference group, affects up to 90% of your life's success. We become the combined average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Consider whether the people around you are pushing you forward or pulling you backwards. Do keep in mind that this effect is very slow and gradual. Surrounding yourself with people who are exactly where you want to be in life will make them push you towards achieving those goals. There are some people that you might want to break away from entirely. While it might not be an easy choice, it will be like lifting an anchor off your progress. Do you really want to live your whole life among negative people who constantly make poor choices and lack discipline? If you can't or really don't want to completely cut somebody off, you can always reduce the amount of influence by reducing the time you spend with them. Limit the amount of time you spend with negative people and allocate the additional time to spend quality time with people who inspire you and push you forward instead. If you want to improve quickly, also consider hiring a coach or creating a board of advisors and let those people train you and give you great inputs. Look for people who are ahead of you in life and thus can give you great advice, and ask for their advice on your progress on a regular basis. You might be surprised by the benefits. The influence also applies to your environment, in other words, everything that surrounds you, all the physical and psychological clutter. Don't let your environment drain you if you can change it. Change it instead of tolerating it. Incomplete tasks also become a part of your environment until you complete them. To summarize, the compound effect. The compound effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small smart choices. Small steps taken consistently over time make for a radical difference. All you need to do to make huge change in your life is to make a big amount of small changes consistently over a long time. The earlier you start, the more radical the compound effect will be for you, so start now. The compound effect in the stock market. This is the most obvious field in which compound effect manifests itself. It can either work for you or against you, so anyone who understands it should make sure to reap the rewards instead of paying the penalties. Taking responsibility. Everything in your life exists because you made a choice at some point. Making no choice is also a choice, to be a passive receiver with unintended consequences. We are all self-made, but only those who are successful take credit for it, while unsuccessful ones tend to blame others instead. Blaming others for your own failures will not help you in any way. Accept them instead, and let them be a lesson that will make you grow. What is your why? Your choices are only meaningful if you align them with your purpose, your desires, and your dreams, where a strong enough why anyhow can be found. Define your core values and make sure everything aligns with them to avoid any consequences. What are your goals? If you're not making the progress that you know you could be making, that's simply because you didn't set up your goals and are not acting toward them. Set your goals by writing them down and make yourself accountable for them. If you don't write your goals down and don't act upon them, they are likely to end up being just imaginary dreams. The potential danger of news. Reviewing the news too much, especially news irrelevant to your goals and business, does not bring you any value and it can be very harmful and damaging. Bad news tends to get a lot of eyeballs and clicks, so mainstream media is focused on spamming it to you instead of useful things, but you get to choose what you consume. Habits. Write a list of habits that you have right now and a list of habits that you want to adopt. Destroy the bad ones and bring in new, good ones. Habits unlearned, and they can also be unlearned. Identify the triggers for bad habits and eliminate them. Also try running a wise check to make sure a bad habit is not becoming the boss of you. Big Mo. Once you build up the momentum, it's much easier to keep going. Adapting change can be hard at the beginning, so take small steps, but once you get it rolling, inertia will be on your side. Big momentum can work for you and also against you, so make sure to use it to your advantage. Don't let it turn you into a couch potato instead. Who is influencing you? The people who you associate with, your reference group, affects up to 90% of your life's success. We become the combined average of the 5 people we spend most time with. There are some people that you might want to break away from entirely, and others you might want to spend quality time with instead. Thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, then you're the real MVP of this channel, and I really hope this video was useful to you. I'll leave affiliate links in the description below, so you can also support the channel with no additional cost to you if you want. As a final note, let me just clarify that this is summary of a book. It's not any kind of advice. You and only you are responsible for the consequences of your own actions. With that out of the way, there's a new book summary out every week, and much more investing and motivation related content is on the way, so feel free to leave suggestions to which book I should be reading next, and what you would like to learn related to these topics. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Also feel free to subscribe for more content, leave a like on the video so more people can actually see it, and share it with a friend if you think it will help them. I'll see you next week, so enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye!